Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. In today's video, I want to highlight the top 5 best Nvidia graphics cards for your money right now. It seems like Nvidia GPUs are a little bit more in right now due to drivers and things of that nature, and the Nvidia AMD war, even though I think it's a little bit silly, I think it's something that is never going to end, although I do feel like it's been less prevalent over the last few years. Maybe it's just because I'm less in tune with that side of the PC gaming world now. Like, if you give me good hardware, it's good hardware. I don't really care anymore. However, I am still able to assess the best hardware for the price, even though I personally use an Nvidia GPU. I don't ever say AMD's bad or anything like that, but in today's video, we are focusing on Nvidia graphics cards specifically, and I wanted to cap off the price range at around, $450. I didn't want to look at anything super expensive, because if you're looking at a value-centric video, chances are you are on a little bit more of a budget. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And I want to kick things off with the MSI GeForce GTX 650 Super Ventus, which is available for $160 over on Amazon right now. Ideally, if you can find this south of $150, that would be great. I don't see anything as of the recording of this video that's under $150. However, this is still a great entry-level GPU, and what's great about this GPU is if you have a pre-built computer, chances are you might even be able to just pop this into that pre-built computer and get going no problem. Let's say you have an HP or a Dell with a decent, Intel CPU, you throw in a 1650 and you might be good to go. Maybe you'll have to upgrade the power supply if you don't have a 6-pin power connector, but otherwise it'll work really well, and it is very power efficient, which is really something that you can say about these lower end Nvidia GPUs. They really shine in that regard, more so than the RX 570 or 580, and that's mainly because those GPUs are a little bit older. I'm sure when AMD does a refresh and makes a lower end GPUs, they'll have a very power efficient graphics cards as well, and the 570 and 580 are pretty good for the performance that they offer. Not to throw shade at those at all, but the 1650 works really well if you're looking to game at 1080p. Anything more than that is going to be rather difficult. All things considered, you're not getting a $150 to $160 GPU to do 1440p gaming. That's just a little bit silly, and as a 4GB GPU, it's still going to offer you really good performance at 1080p, even at higher end games. So at 150, this is definitely a good starting point. 150 to 160, definitely a good starting point. Alright, next up we have the Zotac Gaming GeForce GTX 1660. This is down to $210 right now. 6GB GDDR5 GPU. Now, this is a very good GPU that, once again, you might want to stick to 1080p gaming here, but once you get into the 1660 range, you can really start pushing for 1440p quality gameplay, depending on the types of games that you want to play. Zotac is really good. I know that Zotac doesn't get as much play as an MSI or an Asus in some regards, but Zotac GPUs, in my opinion, have always been rather good. The heat sinks are on point. The coolers look great. And the 1660, I remember when it initially came out, it got a little bit of flack, but at this point, for $210, I do think it's a really good buy. And that $200 tier of video cards is something that I think the entire market is just lacking right now, really, in regards to every GPU that you can find. That 210, 250, 230, around that area, there's just not a lot of options. So the options that are available, while I wouldn't say that they are absolutely tremendous, I do think the 1660 offers a lot of quality gameplay. And if you're playing games at 1080p, the 1660 is going to crush the majority of games. 1440p, obviously, it's going to have its limitations, but even at that, it's going to do rather well. And the 1660 is also relatively power efficient, all things considered. Estimated usage about 120 watts, which isn't a lot for a GPU at this caliber. If you told me GPUs like this were going to drain 120 watts, 5-7 years ago, that would have been pretty incredible, but that's where we're at, and the 1660 offers you a lot of good for the money. Alright, next up, keeping on with the 1660 wave, the 1660 Ti is $280. Ideally, I would like you to pick up a GPU like this from MSI specifically, a little bit cheaper. If you could find it for $260-ish, I think that would be a great buy. $280 is the cheapest that I can find right now, and unfortunately, the Amazon listing that they have right now, they don't even note that it'll be in stock until April 10th, so that's a little bit of a bummer. However, I imagine that might just be a placeholder and they might get units in a little bit earlier. Whatever the case may be, 1660 Ti generally goes for around this price, and I do think it's still a great offer for a 1660 Ti at 1440p, it's going to do rather well. And again, if you want to stick to 1080p at this point, when you're picking up a $280 GPU, you really should be starting to make a play and thinking about 1440p, or if not 1440p, think about 1080p at 144 hertz. Those are the barriers. Even with the vanilla 1660, think about 144 hertz more so than 1440p in my opinion, although that's the great thing about PC gaming, you can assess what you want. Do you want that higher resolution, or would you want to go the route of going for 144 hertz monitors? Anecdotally speaking, I feel like a lot more people are going the 144 hertz route these days, but nonetheless, the 1660 Ti is going to offer you a lot of good for $280. At this point, you are getting into the upper echelon of price ranging, however, still offering a pretty good value-centric performance. You're not breaking that 330, 350 tier yet, and the 1660 Ti, much like the vanilla 1660, very power efficient, once again around 120 watts, and for the performance you're getting, really good stuff there. Alright, moving on from that, now we're looking at relatively high-end GPUs. The Zotac Gaming GeForce RTX 2060 Super is down to around $400. I've seen this GPU specifically as low as like I believe 385 is the lowest that I've seen personally. It may have gone a little bit cheaper, but the RTX 2060 Super is a very, very good GPU. Now you're talking about an 8GB GDDR6 GPU, and at $400, yes, it's a little bit of a hefty price point, and this is quite the bulky GPU. However, for the performance that you get, definitely one that is of immense quality. 175 wattage for this one, which again, for the performance, is pretty ridiculous how efficient these GPUs are getting. And this is one you're really talking 1440p. If you're even thinking about picking up a 2060 for 1080p, I know some of you guys are gonna have, well, I can get some longevity, man. Are you really gonna buy a GPU for longevity for, you know, so you can stay in the game for 3 to 5 years? How about you buy a GPU and you get performance in the present day and go for that 1440p, go for that 144 hertz that you definitely want to be playing games in the ideal way. You can even go for a 1440p 144 hertz 1440p 144 hertz, and that should be relatively easy to do with a 2060. Obviously, there are going to be limitations with certain games and whatever the case may be. You'll have to adjust settings if you're really going for a high resolution, high frame rate model, but still for $400 for everything you get out of the 2060, I think it's a tremendous GPU and definitely one worth buying. And again, you're not even going to need a hefty power supply for this one, and given the performance that it's offering, that's pretty ridiculous. And lastly, I do want to give a shout out to the Asus GeForce RTX 2070 overclocked 8GB GDDR6 GPU. This is $440 right now, which comparatively speaking to the 2060 Super, it's not a big discrepancy in price, but also in the same token, it's not like the performance discrepancy is otherworldly or anything like that. There definitely is a performance discrepancy. That's why you're paying a premium for the 2070. But right now, I just think the pricing on the vanilla 2070 non-super is pretty good, $440, and you are getting a performance bump over the 2060. A lot of the stuff I said about the 2060 is applicable here as well. 1080p just is not like something you should even look at with the 2070. You're talking 4K gaming here, or you're talking 1440p 144 hertz. That's ideally what you want to go for, and it's still a GPU that, while it is expensive at $440, this is the kind of GPU you can easily fit into a $1,000 build. Maybe you can even slide it into an $800-900 build if you're really crafty with your part selection. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But the 2070 has been one of the standard bearers in terms of high quality GPUs from a price to performance standpoint, and for $440, this one is a really good buy right now if you're looking to either upgrade an existing PC that does have decent hardware surrounding it, or if you're looking to build, you know, an $800 to a $1,000 PC. Ideally, you're going to that $1,000 territory with this GPU, but again, if you're relatively crafty, you can definitely fit this into an $800 build. It wouldn't be that difficult given that you have $440 on the GPU, and then you've got like, what, $360 on the other parts of the build. That's relatively easy to do. But that's going to conclude this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I know when I do these GPU videos, I tend to cover a lot more AMD stuff because the price to performance, they are really good. However, a lot of various elements do make people want to get an Nvidia GPU over an AMD. A lot of really good elements too. Shadow play is something that I hear you guys mention over and over again, and that is definitely one of the drawing factors of an Nvidia GPU. The drivers are a little bit more on point as of right now as well, so that's always something to note. That's gonna conclude this video, guys. Links to everything will be in the description box below, along with Amazon affiliate links. I will get a little bit of a kickback if you decide to buy anything, so I definitely appreciate that. That's gonna conclude this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.